Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming back. Um, so, what's new? See what's going on here. Usual housekeeping things. Trying to do the right amount of light. I'm adding a little more light. As I say, that usually is not a good thing for either one of us. But I touched the table. Don't do that. Background music is Dire Straits. Why worry? I know I use that a lot, but I'm lazy. Turns out, and it's handy, rather than, I think I mentioned just recently, I tried like 5 or 6, 7 other songs, and they didn't work out. There were more vocals in them than I thought, or the dynamic range was bigger than I thought, and it just doesn't work out as well for background music as I wanted it to. So I fell back on to Dire Straits song here. Making another video. Yeah, I do have an idea of a topic. I'll move that a little bit. So I hope the lighting's okay. It's kind of reddish on purpose because that's red. Yeah, a couple, actually three great music friends of mine that I can think of, at least three, have told me that they use my videos here on YouTube as their background chatter while they're working on projects, either editing video or like refurbishing a room, doing like some painting or whatever, and so they'll have my one of these YouTube videos running in the background so they can listen to me tell one of my stupid stories or something, or some rant, but they're not looking at the screen, I don't think, because they're busy doing something else. But anyway, three of them have said that they've run out of material, that I need to get going on doing something else, do another one, because they're fresh out of material. So they fresh out of my material. So that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here. Yeah, so I'll do another video here, and the subject here is going to be my dad. Thinking about him, he's passed about a year and a few months now, and I'm still always thinking of stories and sayings of his, expressions of his. He's got a million of them. He was Marines, Special Forces, Force Recon, so a handful to have for a dad, to be honest. But I learned a lot from him, a lot. And trying to decide. I got two stories in mind. I pick one first. See, this is, as usual, I have no idea what I'm going to say next. Okay, this one will be short, I think. No, I'm going to do the other one. Ladder, yeah. My dad worked for Union Electric, and Union Electric has these two-story ladders, but the point I'm going to get to is they're heavy. Okay, they're not aluminum ladders, and again, it's a two-story ladder, so it's two full-size ladders laying on top of each other when you've got them, ready to put away. Two ladders, and they're heavy because they're made out of fiberglass, among other things, and yeah, generally. Anyway, that's heavier than these cheap aluminum ladders, even two-story ladders that painters would use. Because see, a painter's not worried about coming up against high power lines, but the Union Electric people, they don't want anything that could conduct electricity at all. Obviously, when they're using a ladder for something like going up on a pole to get to a transformer. So anyway, when the fiberglass starts to shred a little bit, it's actually really sharp and painful, and also the ladder's falling apart. That means, it's still safe structurally, but it's getting old. So they kind of decommission them and let the workers, if they want, take them. And so anyway, I ended up with this one, and this is going to be a story about me nearly getting killed. It turns out that seems like A, a lot of these stories are about my near-death experiences, and B, the feedback I get is that people seem to like them better, or somewhat better than other topics or rants and things. So this will be maybe good then. I almost get killed, but I've spoiled the ending now because I don't, in fact, end up killed at the end of the story. So spoiler alert there. Too bad. I mean, too late, right? Sorry. And so anyway, I put on a real shirt today at an unusual Saturday lawyer meeting, and so I put on a shirt and stuff, and my hair's still really long, and I haven't gotten it cut yet since I was told not to. But that's a good opportunity. Sorry, changing subjects just for a second here, because my great friend Deanna Petku, today's 15th, right? Yes, started a band, and today they had a drop. They covered Paramore, and what's the song? I can't remember. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know a handful, literally like 5 Paramore songs, and but this was none of them that I knew. So, but anyway, good song. Great to see the whole band there, and so she's gonna be front woman for she is front woman for the band. The band's name is Artemis, Artemes, and she's changed the name of her YouTube channel from her name to her name, because it turns out that Artemis, although there's sometimes spelled with an E, sometimes spelled with an I, she's spelling it with an E for reasons. But in Greek, it's Artemis. That same goddess in Roman mythology is Diana. So it's her, same person. Worked out really well. Father Zeus, and twin brother is Apollo, and Artemis is the twin sister of Apollo. And again, that means exactly Diana in Roman, but it's Roman mythology. Still dad Zeus, brother Apollo, but in Greek it's Artemis. So it worked out well for the name of the band. And so anyway, if you would give a thought to subscribing to the YouTube channel, if you're already subscribed to Deanna Petku's channel, then the subscription will still be there. But if you hadn't done that and would like to give it a try, that'd be great. I'd appreciate it. So good. I get a chance to plug her new band, and still, like I said, I haven't got a haircut because she told me not to. So we usually do what each other recommends. So there it is. All right. So yeah, my dad and I are going to try to put this ladder. We got to put it somewhere, and it's a 2-story ladder. It's big, it's heavy, it takes up a lot of room. So we get the bright idea to hang it from the ceiling of the garage, okay, over where the cars park. Duh, it's a 3-car. No, this is a 2-car garage, different house, 2-car garage, and so the cars are going to park, tightly in there and hang the ladder up above. So sorry about the siren there. So it's not part of the background music. It costs extra. So we got hooks and all kinds of paraphernalia, chain to run through, and a piece of pipe, aluminum pipe, drilled holes in it and hooked the chain into it, and hooked the eye hooks into the ceiling, and everything to hang it at the back end too, obviously. And it's heavy as all hell, and we got it up there, and being an engineer, I got to test it. You got to system test it, right? So I got to test this thing, especially when it turns out that it was on the side where my wife at the time would park. And why wouldn't I hang it over my car? Not because I didn't want it to fall on my car. No, it just turns out on the other side of the garage there was a pull down ladder, or not a ladder, sorry, stairs that would go up into that attic area. And so it was just in the way of, you couldn't hang the ladder on that side. The other side was just flat, plain ceiling, so that's where it had to go. But I had to test it, right? So I'm get done with it, and I'm under it, and I'm pulling on it, and it seems like it's okay. It seems solid enough. And then I let go of it, and it's a couple feet over my head. I think I had to get up on a ladder, a couple steps up on a step ladder to pull it tug on it, and it seemed okay. And so I got down off the ladder. So now I think the thing is 2 or 3 feet above my head, and all of a sudden something caught my eye, and I went, did that thing just move? That clamp or hook or whatever kind of goat harness we had for this thing, did that just move a little bit? And then about the time I got done saying that sentence, boom, zing, the hook thing just broke, or something. Yeah, it broke, and or the end of the pipe broke off, I think. Yeah, that's what it is. And this ladder, and I don't know how much the thing weighs. 60 pounds? Because I've carried it before. Yeah, I'd say 60, 80 pounds. It's heavy. Heavier than it looks. Well, because it's both ladders, like I said, put together. And so anyway, the whole 60, 70, 80 pounds of it drops on my, or is going to come down on my head. You know, I got my arms up to block it, and then my own fists hit me in the head, you know, but at least the ladder rungs didn't crack me in the head and kill me. And I'm like, oh man, I'm glad I tested it, because again, that had been, you know, my wife's side of the garage, and you know, to kill somebody, you know, especially if you didn't know it was coming, because it would get to fall a couple more feet before it finally made contact. You know, it would drop about 4 feet, 5 feet probably, I guess, before it landed on you. Wouldn't do you a bit of good. Mm-mm. So I know I'd either be divorced or widowed. Well, those would be the only 2 ways that would come out, I think, if that thing let loose. So it was like crap. So we ended up, that's what it was. Is we drilled holes in the end of this pipe because we needed something round. We couldn't just hang a chain, because you know a chain's going to make a U shape, and you can't get that ladder into the U. It's too cumbersome. We wanted something to be horizontal and smooth, and you know, like a roll, like a piece of pipe, and then one person could slide the ladder end up into there on that pipe, and it would stay horizontal even though chains are hooked to the edges, and then you could hook the back end of it to this other thing that we rigged up. But what happened was the pipe wasn't heavy enough, wasn't heavy duty enough, and it just ripped the hole right through. And so actually I had the bright idea of saying, well, you know, we don't need this pipe to bear any weight. We just want it to keep the chain straight. The chain's strong enough to hold it, and the eye hooks in the drywall and the ceiling are strong enough. It's this pipe that tore loose. So why don't we just use more of the chain and pass it through the pipe and out the other side, and then we'll hook the 2 chain pieces up, you know, and then this stupid pipe, aluminum pipe, I think it's made out of aluminum, that was the problem. It won't have to bear any weight. It's just keeping the chain straight, horizontal, for enough width to be able to slide the ladder up in there. And I think this is one of the few times that I actually made my dad proud of me for something, because he said something like, well, you're not as dumb as you look. That's exactly what he said. And so, you know, I take that as a huge compliment coming from him, because, like I said, he was literally a drill sergeant, among other things, in the Marines. Among his Special Forces work, he was, for a time, a drill sergeant, literally. Wow. It's storming now. It's pouring down rain. I know it looks light out behind me, because it is light, but it's not that light, it's raining. So, okay, that took 13 minutes, more than. But yeah, that almost killed me there with the ladder. I'll go ahead and do the other one, and if you're tired of stories, you can just punch out now here at 14 minutes. But for the people that are that are working, doing painting or editing cello videos of themselves and trying to get some work done, and they need more than 14 minutes, I'll tell one more story. I stopped there because I almost said one more quick story, but it's like, we know that's not going to be the case somehow. And again, I hadn't thought about this ahead of time. I don't even know if I'm going to be remembering this story right here live in front of you, because I don't remember until I go through it. We went to Mexico, just my dad and I. He wanted to go to Mexico, not Cancun, not a smaller place. I forget why. I mean, like a vacation, but I forget what it was about this town. And I don't think it was on the water. So, It was right when I got out of college. And anyway, my dad's wife didn't want to go because he's going to drive, and so it's going to take a while, right? But he loves to drive, and so and I do too. So he asked me if I wanted to go. I'm like, sure, why not? Let's go. So we just take off for Mexico. We pack, take off for Mexico, and we didn't stop overnight anywhere. We just took turns driving and passengers sleeping, and we just drove and drove and drove. That's how my dad would do it. If he was by himself, he'll drive 16 hours in a day. He's driven to Colorado many times for skiing, and I would fly. It's a 2-hour and 10-minute flight here to Denver, but and then rent a car in Denver and go up into the mountains. But he would drive, and it's 16 hours across Kansas. Oh God! Well, you got to get all the way across Missouri too, but it's about 16 hours. And okay, so anyway, we're driving to Mexico, and we end up in this little town, and he wants to go like sightseeing at night in this strange town in Mexico, and we end up in what seems like a pretty bad part of Mexico, and see, I'm gonna have to remember this as I go. And yeah, we went to a bar, had a couple beers, and then we're leaving, and it's after midnight, but it's not closing time for the bar yet. But it's plenty dark. It's night. It's like midnight, and it just seems like a really questionable area of town for two gringos to be stomping through. Clearly, tourists on vacation-ish. But like I said, my dad was Marine Special Forces, and he'd already taught me plenty of stuff. Hand-to-hand stuff and edged weapons and all that kind of, and improvised weapons. But I still a little spooked. And my dad said, I'm trying to remember how he said it. It's that from the Bible, something about yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I be not afraid. And my dad finishes that with, it's not the way it usually finishes. He says, because we're the baddest mofos in the valley. So that's why we're not afraid. And he tells me, just think of that. Just act like that. And I'm like, okay. Because my dad's a handful. And especially when I got out of college, he was, how old was he? I don't know, I should be able to do that math, but I should have prepared for it. Ooh, there's thunder. Cool. Love storms. So, unless the power fails, then that'll be oops. But I got a UPS that'll run for long enough for me to shut this down, I think. We're walking through the valley of death here. It seemed like, and since we drove, we didn't have to mess with airport security and stuff, which I still love doing that, driving places. Let's see. Okay, good. Yeah, I should have prepared for this story, but it's always with me here. And on this walk here, I had this knife with me, and it's always with me. Like I said, I didn't prepare for this story, but it's always right there. So we're kind of a handful too. Then walking through this place, and so nothing happened, nothing at all. I mean, there were some people hanging around the street corners, and they kind of gave us a dead-eyed look, and we just stared them down, and nobody bothered anybody. So it was uneventful. So that was a waste of several minutes. There wasn't. There's no story there, Keith. I'm sorry. I didn't prepare for that. Like I said, I was remembering it as I was going. I was pretty much remembering the latter story as I was going, too. So that's all I got. Trying to remember. Sorry if I startled anybody. I have actually done a couple unboxings of stuff I've been sent, and I don't even think about it. It's just an extension of my hand, But I'm worried about getting the laptop. No, I'm sorry. My iPad set up with the camera, at the right angle, and get a couple TV trays, put them together, and then throw a sheet over it so that it's a nice, not so ghetto-looking couple beat-up TV trays. I put a dark gray sheet on it or something, and then I got this box and I'm starting to film, and I'm like, oh, cool, and thank you for this, whatever it was, Christmas or birthday or something, maybe no reason at all, box. And so I'm like, okay, let's get this thing. And I do that, and I sent the video to the person who sent it to me, and they said that they were like, oh, shit. They have like a startle reflex. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't even think, to warn you about it or go in slow motion or anything. I just, all of a sudden this knife comes out of nowhere, and then it's called a blur because it is a blur when it opens. And so, but I don't even think about it. I mean, I use it all the time, and it's always on me. But it scared them, so I apologize to you also if you have a startle reflex, or even if you don't have a super startle reflex. Didn't mean to panic you there. So yeah, I guess that's okay. We're at 20 minutes, and that's 2 dad stories. Throwing one more little one. He taught me how to, among many other things, how to row a canoe, a real canoe. And we went to Forest Park, and I was in high school still. Yeah, I was like a freshman in high school at this time. But we were going to go floating, and he wanted to teach me how to do it right. So he was in the front of the canoe, and he wasn't paddling. He wasn't going to do anything except yell at me. And he wanted to teach me how to paddle from one side of the canoe, and paddle, and then you got to give the paddle a twist at the end to flip the canoe left. Otherwise, if you're paddling, no, you're going to go in left circles. Yeah, you got to give it a flip to get it to go right a little bit so that it ends up going straight, so you can paddle across the lake or whatever. Otherwise, if you just keep paddling on the same side, you're going to just paddle in a circle. And so we were out there for the longest time, and him hollering at me about how to do that twist at the end of that paddle to straighten the boat out. So you end up kind of wiggling, you don't just go zzz like you had a motorboat. You end up, the stroke of the paddle will carve you a little bit left, and then you give it that little flip at the end to straighten it up. And so you end up kind of a little bit of zigzag, but it's not too inefficient. And if my dad would have been doing something, if he'd have been cooperating instead of teaching me and yelling at me, he would have been paddling on the left. And then if we're both paddling like that, things work out fine. And then you do go straight. And that's how you're supposed to do it, and that's how we did it when we went floating. But he wanted to teach me how to paddle a canoe from the back by myself, and I was determined to do that. So that's the way most of our teachings went, was him yelling at me until I finally got it right, and then him not really giving me any encouragement, boom, just saying, okay, finally you got that right, you're smarter than you look, kind of thing. Or it took you long enough to get that move right or whatever. So anyway, but I did learn a lot, and I got a lot of stories. I got more stories. I won't go into them now. And what I really have is a lot of sayings. He had sayings for everything, and I just find myself, when I come across a situation, I end up saying that thing. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what his dad would say. Blah blah blah. Okay, that's good. 23 minutes. This is kind of a short one for me, but God, I had one the other day. I just saw it. It was like 50 minutes. Well, I forget what it was about. Might have been the one I went through, signed autographs and stuff, and I'm saving up. I've got like right after I did that video, I got like 3 more things from people. CDs and backpacks and T-shirts. Those are 3 things I can think of, just off the top of my head, that all came in the mail, within about a day or 2 or 3 of me doing that video. It's like, if I'd have just, if I'd have known, or if I'd have thought, because I kind of knew they were coming, if I'd have thought, I just would have waited 3 more days, and I could have had 3 more things to go through. But I'll hang on to those and wait till I've got 8 more things, and then I'll just do chapter 2 of the autographed memorabilia of my super talented music friends, because they, or you, are super talented, and it's a pleasure to have you as a friend, and it's a pleasure for everybody who comes here to watch. I really do appreciate it. hear a few from you. I've said this before. Apparently, I'm not very good at saying it right now. I'm like stumbling over my words, but I hear from a few of you in the comments section, but gosh, I probably hear 80% of any feedback is through other conversations in DM or PM or in stream in the chat, while we're actually in somebody's stream, or the streamer themselves talking to me about it. So that any kind of feedback is great. If you want to leave a comment here, that's cool. That'll remind me who has seen what. But it's always just great to have you watching, whether you're commenting here or ever mention it to me in any fashion of social media or streaming online music or whatever. Still, I'm honored to have you here, taking up your time, listening to my goofy stuff. So I will bid you adieu for now, and I will try to put some more thought into a next one. So this one, the main reason I did is because I had a shirt on because I had to go talk to the lawyer. Although next time I don't think I'm going to worry about dressing up to look good for him. I need to dress like I'm going to kill him, because that could still happen. He's doing he's very smart. He's very smart, but he's such a procrastinator, and he's doing a terrible job, and I'm trying to get him to move this ball down the field, and he's just not doing it. And I'm going to get on a rant, but, he'll tell me, okay, yeah, keep, we'll be talking on Tuesday, and he'll say, okay, by Friday, I will send you, this document or this spreadsheet or this whatever proposal, whatever. I'll send it to you by Friday. And of course, Friday comes and he doesn't do it. And then Monday, I'll email him, Don, where's that thing you promised me 3 days ago? And then he won't get back to me for like 3 days, and then on Thursday he'll say, okay, I'm sorry, I'll finish it up tomorrow, and tomorrow evening you'll have it in your inbox, in your email. He says this on Thursday, and then on Friday, do I have it? No, I don't. And I'll follow up, and I'll call him, and I'll email him, and when he used to have an office before the zombie apocalypse, I would show up at his office, and it's like a 35-minute drive from here, but I would make that drive 35 minutes each way to visit him face to face and try to impress upon him how much I want him to get these things done. And I never had an appointment, but turns out you don't need one. You just keep walking. And the receptionist's like, oh, I'm sorry, do you have an appointment? And I'm like, nope, just going to walk in there. And if he's on the phone, I'm going to take the phone out of his hand, hang it up. I've done that. Have I talked about this? Seems like I have. Yeah, but that happened. Yeah, he was on the landline, and I just walked in there and looked at him, and he looked at me like, what are you doing here? And I took the phone away and hung it up and started yelling at him, saying you've had like 4 chances at this one milestone. You keep telling me you're going to do it, and then you don't do it. I need you to do it, like, start working on it now, and by the end of the day today, I want that damn email. Otherwise, I'll be back here tomorrow. You don't want me back here tomorrow. Fuck. Anyway, okay, lawyers, right? What did Shakespeare say? First thing to do, kill all the lawyers? I think that was Shakespeare. Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure it was. I'll have to Google that. So thank you. Now we're at 28 minutes, so it's as long as my usual ones are. So didn't want to disappoint by having it be too short. So those of you that are working, I'm sorry to tell you that you have to put your tools down for a minute here and turn this off and find another video or put some music on or something. Thank you for coming, and I will see you all later. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you soon, I hope.